Hi guys, it's me, Kathy. This is Handy Are You? I'm laughing because I had to keep starting the video over and over again. It's like everything's going wrong. Like, I don't know sometimes. Um, anyway, so this is like part two of me trying to cover the history tour that was POTUS and Bill O'Reilly, the interview. And yeah, now I kept cat fur on my face. And anyway, so I'm going to go into some quotes that President Trump did. I didn't really do Bill O'Reilly quotes. So probably I should have, but I didn't. Um, anyway, and yeah, but anyway, before I start, how are you guys doing? You doing okay? I hope so. I hope so. Um, I hope you guys aren't like too concerned about Christmas coming up because everything's going to be great, and we might have to start, new traditions with people that accept us and that kind of thing. But if that's what's going to happen, that's life. I know you guys are all having an awkward time, and I am too if you watched the last video. I don't know what's going to happen this Christmas, if I'm going to be welcome anywhere. I don't know, but I hope so. And everybody's welcome at my house, so the people who are upset with me are welcome here too. And like, we'll be fine no matter what happens. We're going to be fine. This won't be forever, and we'll get through it. We'll all get through everything together, and we'll be fine. It's like, whatever. Anyway, back to the quotes from President Trump in interview, and he said, what I do is, as you know, I'll take things that he says like two times. Sometimes he even says them three times, and I'll write the phrase down. Sometimes it's a word that he'll say two or three times, and I'll decode the word. So it's either I decode the phrase or the word. And sometimes it seems like it's a long sentence that he'll say twice. So I'll take part of the sentence, like the phrasing of the sentence that makes sense. And maybe I'll do it in two parts. There's no wrong way, really. You guys do it the way you want to do it. I'm just telling you what I do. Um, so he said, I will say this, and he says this all the time. So this is something he wants us to know, and that's 166, and that simple gematria, A equals 1 through Z equals 26, and I used matrix.org to figure these things out and see what God tells us matches. I mean, and if you do it, you're going to get different answers. Let's face it, because he's saying different stuff to different people. So anyway, sometimes I forget to say what I'm working on, and I feel bad because there's always somebody new, one or two new people, and they don't know what we're talking about. So anyway, I will say this, and that's 166, and guess what that equals? Numbers are biblical. Okay? Okay, there it is. Numbers are biblical. And it equals uh, September 11, not 11th th, but 11. And as we know from all the research we've done and decoding we've done, that Christ's real birthday was September 11th. And from what I've figured out, and I don't know about you guys, but from what I figured out, is it's also the death date. So it's not just his birthday. He was killed on his birth date, born and died on the same date, September 11th, which is horrible, but, that's what they chose. Um, let's see, and that's why September 11th happened on that date. Okay, happy stuff. Gotta go from bad to happy. Um, let's see, so I'm doing 166. It equals Pastor Bob Joyce. I know you know who that is. Not bad. And I'm always talking about the white hat, the good guys, false flappy things that's up on a flagpole. I can say flagpole, but I can't say false, the wavy thing. Anyway, I mean, those FFs can be like a real thing that happens, as you well know, like September 11th. It can also be something that is not real that happens, so it can be kind of both ways. It's just something to disrupt or to send a message or, whatever. So, I mean, FFs are not always completely fake. I'm sure you know that, but I thought I'd throw that in there. But this is going to be, if it looks like this, like the way I keep talking about with the white hat FFs, meaning the good guys doing this stuff, not the bad guys. Like this one matches New York, NUKED, and I won't say the word, Now, that's not going to happen. You know that. The good guys are not going to let that happen. But it may look like stuff like that happens. Not necessarily New York. It could be lots of other places. Could look like it all at once. Could look like just missiles are being launched, from NOCO or President Xi. But they're working with us. So it's not going to be real, I can't be the only one saying this out there. I just know it. I just know it because other people are seeing the same decodes. At least some of them must be that I do. And it's a constant refrain of fake, hoax, not real when these things come up. So they're not real. Anyway, the Big Bang Theory is 166. Trump Kennedy is 166. And here we go. Disinformation is 166. There is disinformation on both sides. And our side uses disinformation. And I don't know if you guys remember, but back when President Obama was in office, it was completely, it was signed into law that propaganda was legal to use on the United States citizens. And after World War II, it had been made illegal. So for whatever reason, he decided to make it legal. And the legislature backed it up and everything. And so propaganda is now being used by the good guys because it was legalized. Stop and think about that. So what was meant for bad is now being used for good. And then President Trump said, we built the greatest economy ever, which he says quite a bit. And that's 360. And this is very interesting. Tell me what you think. I mean, I hope you guys can make more than one comment, obviously. You can just make comments as topics come up, whatever you feel like doing, and talk to each other, Yeah, so this was interesting. It's this is 360, First Lady of the Great Tribulation. Okay, so is that, who do you think? I'm not even going to speculate. I'm going to just let you guys make comments. And yeah, because the Great Tribulation wasn't for the good people on the earth. It was for the evil people. And we figured that out over this past, 3 or whatever years, 4 years, they changed the Bible so that it would look like we were the ones that were going to be put to task and go under all the duress and everything, and that it put fear in people, it really did. And we're not supposed to be afraid. I mean, how many times did Jesus say, don't be afraid, right? But it put fear in people because they thought, oh my gosh, we're going to go through this. All this horrible stuff is going to happen to us. Well, it's not. It's happened, and it's happening to the bad guys. You know what I mean by the bad guys. Yeah. They're being wiped off the earth right now. It's going to be beautiful when this is all done, right? Can't wait. Let's see. So Yeah, that was turning 60, First Lady of the Great Tribulation. And then here again, another uh, feminine term, she who protects Christ from hell. I just go right into that, right along with the First Lady of the Great Tribulation and tell me what you think, okay? And then, this was a good one. Are you getting the big picture yet? I was like, oh, yeah, I think we are. I think we're getting the big picture. I mean, when you step back and look at all the stuff that we've decoded, I mean, we're not going to get everything right by any means, but we've got the gist of kind of what's going on, I think. Don't you think? Yeah. Anyway, he said, the greatest ever. And that's 178. Now, remember back to the blood type and all the controversy about Jesus's blood type and all that stuff? Remember all that? Well, and everybody was saying that well, not everybody, certain people were saying it was, what was it? Well, anyway, it was negative, RH negative, whatever. It was something like that. I've almost blocked it out of my mind right now. Well, a friend of mine, who's also a viewer, sent me a photo, a screenshot of the actual blood type card of JFK. And his, for when, I think it was when he was senator, everybody had to get their blood typed. And they did it out of a Boston hospital. I have it back in a different video that had something about that in the title. And yeah, his blood type is O positive. Okay, so the greatest ever, which he said a couple of times, 100 is 178, matches O positive blood. Okay, and law of attraction is 178, and that's you look up the law of attraction when this is all done. This video. Yeah, law of attraction is like you think it and it happens. Just you believe it and it happens. And there's lots of videos out there about that. So take a look at that, the law of attraction. And here to guide you is 178. Let's see. Yeah, President Trump said, greatest bet in the world, a couple of times. That equals 250, and it equals Sumerian God ancestry. And a couple of really odd things that struck me, there's tons of matches to these things, and that it has to speak to you before you end up writing it down or you think it makes sense, right? I mean, I don't just pick these out of a hat. But anyway, snake brotherhood origin is 250, and we know where that all began back in the Garden of Eden. Let's see. Show signs and wonders. And I think that's going to happen. I really do. I mean, it's biblical, of course, but I think it's going to be. I also had it is written, and I hadn't read it in one of my last ones. I didn't read everything. Anyway, it is written that we will see signs and wonders, right? Well, you remember Project Bluebeam? We'll stop and think about that. Okay? And, yeah, show signs and wonders. Okay, where did I leave off? Show signs and wonders. You rise from the grave. This goes back to the Ray Edward Casija thing that comes up on almost every decode I have ever done, and probably you guys too. It's always there. It says God's name is Ray Edward Casija, whatever, potato, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, Father Ray is Lord above God. I don't know. I'm just telling you what I got, you know. Um, Trump back channel messages. And you know the back channels that we've always been talking about that I can't say because you get banned and all this stuff. Um, then, and you know, when you stop and think about, and now in his speeches, you know, like he goes to rallies and things for different people running for government, and he does a rally for somebody. Um, that's a back channel message, really. So it's not even just the stuff I can't talk about. Um, anyway, how about this one? Is 250? Is boom, 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 a JFK Jr. Isn't that a funny one? I like that one. I don't know who put that one in, but somebody did. What are you doing? Let's see. Declare the firstborn, and then it's SUN that equals 250. I thought that was interesting because you know I have a thing about the sun, and we won't go into all that. But you can also think of it the way it sounds, SON, you know, another meaning. And declare the firstborn SON, possibly. You can look at it that way. And remember the whole thing with the 24-hour clock? And so JFK was born 1917. And his brother, his older brother, can't think, Joseph Patrick Kennedy Jr. was born in 1915. So he would have been a couple of years older, right? Well, remember the whole thing about the twins. So now look at it as a 24-hour clock and not as years. And, sorry. So that would be, oh, I have to get it right in my head. That would be, 1915 would be 7:15 p.m. And that would be his older brother, okay? John, JFK's older brother, is Joseph. So if you're looking at it as two twins, and 1917 would be 7:17. So that would be the time that John F. Kennedy was born. So his brother Joseph would be the twin, and he would be born 2 minutes before John. Okay, so Joseph would be born 2 minutes before John F. Kennedy, who was POTUS 35. I hope I made that clear. I don't know. But I had some people help me on that with comments, you know, that because I kept coming up with twins and brothers and things like that, and I kept getting confused. Like, I know there's a reason behind it, but I couldn't quite figure it out, you know, and I hadn't figured the 24-hour clock or anything. And then one of you guys, it's been very helpful lately, mentioned, oh yeah, twins always look at themselves as like the first one is always the older one. So the older brother, so the first one born is the older one, and they're brothers. So that, you know, it made complete sense. Let's see. And then President Trump said, 1917, we would have lost 100 million in 1917. He's talking about the Spanish flu. Well, the Spanish flu happened in 1918, and you guys probably know that by now because I've mentioned it a few times. And he always says 1917, no matter what. And he's a smart person. He's not going to keep saying the wrong year over and over and over again. And even if he did say it wrong a couple of times, somebody that works with him would have corrected him, right? And he wouldn't keep saying the wrong year for the Spanish flu. You know that. And so he's doing this intentionally, and he's bringing notice to the big event in 1917. If you looked up what happened in the year 1917, and you just searched on that, President Kennedy was born. John F. Kennedy was born, you know, and that's what it would show. So he says he's kind of pointing towards 1917. Let's see. Yeah, sorry. I'm getting distracted by the cat, and my notes are messy, and but they're always messy. And then he said, Fauci, Dr. Fauci. Fauci, everything he did, I did the opposite. And that equals 377. And, yeah, that equals the reincarnation of Jesus Christ is 377. My chosen, they will spread my word. And I'm thinking, wow, is that us? Like, I don't know. That could be really cool. Let's see. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, and that's the end of the phrase. And I was thinking, as I'm doing these notes, and I was getting, deeper into all the weeds and everything, and I don't know. Sometimes things really get to me. I don't know. Probably does to you too. And I'm thinking, if I'm so mad about everything that's been happening to people in general, and your wealth being taken away, and everything, everything that's bad, imagine how furious the people who are involved in fixing everything are. Like, imagine that, and the people that can't talk about it. How hard that must be. I mean, they've probably not even just signed an NDA, like a non-disclosure agreement. They've been threatened with a lot worse if they ever say anything, I would think. I mean, that's just, I'm just guessing. Anyway, 377 also equals for the curtain draweth, Draweth, near a close. So that's kind of how it feels, doesn't it? Like we're getting near possibly the end, but then I thought that a long time ago at one point, so whatever, take it with a grain of salt. Let's see. President Trump was still talking at this moment about Dr. Fauci, and he said he was totally against. Now, I didn't write down all of the paragraphs and phrases and the context because that was too much to write down, but he was totally against, and he said that twice. That's 190 for he was totally against, and it equals, you make your choices. I will destroy you. Now, I'm not saying me, okay? You know that. I'm just me. The problem will be deleted. God is speaking to you is 190. Glorious demolition, which we've heard from someone in particular, is 190. And this man makes himself a god is 190. Write down what you think about that. And then this was a cool one. Vincent Kennedy McMahon, he's the wrestler. He owns, I don't remember what it's called now. Is it WWE now? I don't know. Vincent Kennedy McMahon, and that match is 190. And there's this really good series on YouTube called 4VKM, like man, Vince, and that's what it means. Just the number 4, and then VKM, and that means Vince, and he's related to President Trump, which is hysterical. It's all in the family, and the 4VKM is so cool, and I recommend the episode. You watch through the episode, and then and then watch it on slow speed. On YouTube you can hit the speed and just play it slower. And there's a 4vkm.com too that has everything on there. Anyway, there's going to be so much information, you're going to get blown away. It's so cool. All kinds of proofs and things that they've put in, and it's like 40 years of like WWE, and they're giving comms through the 40 years, and it's all in these videos. And the young guy who is doing the videos, somebody said it looks like a Kennedy, but I don't know at all. He just looks like a young man to me. I briefly saw him a couple of times. You know, I wouldn't say he definitely was or anything. So anyway, for fun, it's just a fun thing to watch, and it puts you in a good mood, and it's exciting, you know, and of course, you know, wrestling is all goofy, but the wrestlers know that, you know, and the people in general know that. I would say in general, although my husband says, oh, they're all going along with it and they're serious, but I mean, come on. Anyway, it's fun to watch. And if you watch any of the new stuff that's on pay-per-view, or even the highlights that they put up on YouTube from, say, something that happened the day before, it's all good stuff in it that you'll recognize. It's hysterical. Okay, shocking. He said twice, so that's 86. And when I say twice and then 86, I don't mean you have to multiply. I didn't mean that. Shocking equals 86. That's all I mean. He said it twice, though. That equals black swan, like a black swan event, like something happens that doesn't usually happen, like market falling apart and all that kind of thing. XRP, IMF, and the IMF is already taken apart according to things that I've researched. Everything's kind of just a front right now. XRP is one of the cryptos that are on the Stellar network? Pretty sure. And the ones on the Stellar network are okay, and they'll still be around. How about this? Godzilla is 86. And on my Roku screensaver, I've already talked about that, I know, but they show Godzilla, they show New York, they show, you know, because that happens on the Empire State Building, and they show the Titanic sinking, and just all those things like that. And I'm going, oh my gosh, is Project Bluebeam going to show stuff like that too? That would just, I mean, it's because, you know, remember War of the Worlds, the radio show, and everybody thought it was real way back when 30 something. You probably heard of it if you've never seen it or heard it on the radio broadcast. But anyway, but people thought it was real, and they had nothing to see, you know? I mean, they were listening and they thought it was real. So what if there was stuff that was actually being broadcast that looked real, like Project Bluebeam? Like, I mean, if they see Godzilla and King Kong, people have got to go, okay, people, this is ridiculous. My face hurts from smiling just thinking about that. Okay, after Godzilla for 86, Mac Miller. And if you look back at some the images of Mac Miller, I don't think he's gone either, even though it looks like he is. And I think he's being protected, and we're going to see him again easy. And the strings are driving me crazy. The cat fur. And anyway, there's a picture of him wearing, I think it's a white, it kind of looks like a Hawaiian shirt. It's white, and it's got red print on it. And it's got, I don't remember what everything is, but it's got a great big picture of JFK, John F. Kennedy, on it. So, I mean, that's a com right there, that he's involved in all this. And so, you know, wasn't it he supposedly died last year? Everybody was really sad, you know, and I love his videos. They're so cool. Anyway, I think we'll see him again. Johnny is 86. Saint John, 86. Game over, and then it's done. Okay? And then President Trump said, I was getting calls. That's 181. He said that twice. 181 matches proof there is a God. Jesus the Messiah. Down the rabbit hole is 181. National emergency is 181. State of emergency is 181. nuclear, radioactive. And that's back to the white hat false flappy things, the FFs. I skipped a bit in there, but you can't do everything. Reparations, he said a couple of times. And he was talking about, China owes us money for the illness, letting loose the illness and not warning people. That's kind of what the gist of this one was from. And that equals 136. And it's Great Awakening, Stellar XLM. Yep, like I kind of was talking about before, the network. Stock market, financial reset, Mother Mary, nuclear signal, resurrected, and the Great Flood. So nuclear signal and the Great Flood is the fake, things. Let's see, I must be getting near the end on this one. Let's see. He said, our military, this is a good one, our military has some unbelievable talent. Now, when he says unbelievable, it also, you take that for literal, okay? Like it can be a literal meaning. Unbelievable is not believable, right? In other words, it's not real, okay? Think about unbelievable. It can also mean not real. It's not believable. So anyway, it equals 423. I didn't even go into the decode on that, but to me, I just thought, okay, that's like actors, movie directors. Remember, what's his name? He was the Treasury Secretary. Steve Mnuchin is a. Don't ask me how he ever became the Treasury Secretary, but it made sense, I'm sure. But he's a blockbuster movie director, Look him up, Steve Mnuchin, Mnuchin, and just see all the movies that he produced or directed, whatever it was. Maybe he produced them, can't remember. But he's big time into these movies. A lot of it with digital special effects and, the big stuff that happens in movies lately. Unbelievable, like I just said. Yeah, so anyway. Conan the dog, and I can't remember which terrorist Conan helped get. Can't remember everything, but anyway, Conan the dog. He said 106. It's 106, and it equals prophecy. Stay home. Buy XRP, and that's also from Prophet Kim Clement, if you remember. Yeah. He talked about that. He also talked about, this has nothing to do with the decode, but he also talked about BBB, and it was a company, and that's all he had. And ages ago, I figured out that BBB was Brixton Metals in Canada, and they're also in the United States. And that's the only company with a stock symbol of BBB. And they're into silver and gold mining and a lot of other metals. So anyway, still happens. Okay, divine plan is 106. Inheritance is 106. Real estate, free money, platinum, precious. All these are 106, all these separate ones. Saint Germain. Remember the Saint Germain fund that's been around since time immemorial, almost, gaining interest to be distributed to people, whatever the proper time is. Hazel, Hazel, Hazel Eyes, and POTUS 35, who's also 46. JFK has the most beautiful hazel eyes. I've seen him at rallies. They're gorgeous, and he loves us. I mean, he looks at us with those eyes. He absolutely loves us so much. It's awesome. And my husband has hazel eyes, so, depending on what he wears, his eyes look a different color, which I'm sure is true with him too, you know. Code is 35. Like if he wears green, his eyes would be more green. If he wears blue, they'd look more blue. Then President Trump said he was trying to rebuild is 260. That equals, for the once and future king, it's only a matter of time. You can't argue with facts. Message from God in January, which don't hold me to time or anything like that, but it just came up. And then he said, they love their countries. He was talking about Putin and President Xi at that time. I remember that. He said that twice. 296. The resurrection of Christ is 296. And most beautiful voice in heaven is 296. Let's see. Almost there. They are both at the top of their game. And I was thinking like chess, you know, a chess game. Let's see. And that equals 317. And I also thought of it as 3 17s. You know, I'm not sure if that's the right way of looking at it. It's just, to me, that was another way of seeing 317. 317 equals true reincarnation of Jesus Christ. Christ's testimony of the truth. Yeah, I can't read my writing. Putin loves comedy and sarcasm is 304. That's a good one. Let's see. God's Messiah heal the brokenhearted is 304. And the other day, believe me, I was the brokenhearted. And I'm healed of being brokenhearted. I'm not upset anymore. Everything's fine. It came and went. You know, I was healed of being brokenhearted. You know, if you stay down in the dumps and you stay bad, not good for you. It's just not good for you. Just, you kind of have to move on. Get ready for a world currency. And that's not the New World Order version. You know that, right? It's the good guys kind of thing. I mean, there was a bad one and a good one. The greatest man who ever lived is 304. Phoenix rising from the ashes is 304. And then President Trump says he respected us, and that equals 148. It equals triple eights. Ray, do I say Kosija? Do I say Kosija? Then it equals 148. Donald J. Trump. And then we have ID Raymond Kosaja, K-O-J, K-O-C-E-J-A. So is it President Trump? I don't know. Could be. Could be 100% wrong. The Trinity is 148. And then he said, I don't think it's great. That equals 214. I've never seen this before. Is 214. Now I thought that was really interesting because a YouTube channel called that's Mr. MBB3, and that's BB like boy, Mr. MBB3. I watch that occasionally. I used to watch it all the time. And it talks about weird things happening around the earth and photos that people send in and all that. And he calls himself the Earth Watchman, you know, which is cool. Anyway, I thought that was interesting because he says that almost every episode. He says, never seen this before. So I thought it was interesting that that came up as a match to 214. So maybe he's a white hat and he's there to help us look at different things. Like maybe he's not just a guy putting up YouTube videos. Maybe he's like a guy that has been put there to put up YouTube videos. Anyway, another 214. To be blunt, game over. So, um, remember, he says this quite a bit, President Trump. I mean, in different interviews, he says this about Afghanistan and when we left all the planes and all that stuff behind, which honestly I don't think we did, but that's the way it looks. Um, he would say, I want every bolt, screw, and plane. Like, I would want it all. I don't want to leave it there for the Taliban. And that was the gist of what he said, you know. That equals 326. Guess what that equals? Something you've heard before. The greatest story ever told is 326. Now you can also look at that phrase, the greatest story ever told, as it's a story. What's happened in Afghanistan didn't even really happen like that. You know, all that, it didn't happen. Remember all the fake video footage of everybody running alongside the plane? And there was one with the Trump hat on and all that. And then there was the second plane that was in the video was a blow-up plane like they use in the movies, you know, for, you know, they don't want to have all these different planes sitting out there. It's too expensive. So they'll have like a fake kind of plane that's filled with helium or whatever they use nearby to be like another plane in the movie. I tell you, it's a movie. The whole thing's a movie. So you could think of it like, right? The greatest story ever told. Like, and he's just talking about Afghanistan. And so anyway, another 326 is the second coming of Jesus Christ. I think we have a theme here, don't you? I really do. Mostly built. He said that twice, right in a row, and that's 168. Enough is 168. The trump of God is 168. The prophesied child, New York City. You are all safe now. So even if stuff looks kind of like off the wall, you know everything's okay. I never conceded the election, he said, and that's an important phrase he said several times. He never did. He never conceded and said, yeah, well, you know, you won, I lost. He never said that. That's 242. It equals predictive programming, which is what they used on us for years and years and years, ever since there was the written word, probably. I wouldn't even say motion pictures. Christ resurrection, not what you expected. I don't think it is. You will wonder how. And this is, you'll laugh at this one. I hate my red hair and freckles. And that struck me because Joseph Patrick Kennedy Jr. has red hair and freckles and kind of small hands, I think. Yeah. And remember Jen Psaki, or Psaki, whatever her name is, the White House spokeswoman with the red hair, the high forehead that everybody makes fun of, you know, like her hair starts like up here somewhere, and freckles and everything. And if you use a voice modulator, you can sound like anybody, you know, you could sound like her. And remember the whole thing with Marco Rubio, Senator Rubio, when he was running for president, and there was President Trump was, and Ted Cruz, there's a whole bunch still running, I think. And Marco Rubio made the comment about President Trump's tiny hands, that he had small hands, and supposedly President Trump was all like up in arms, like, what do you mean I have tiny? I don't have tiny hands. And it was all an act. The whole thing was set up on purpose. It's so funny. Everything. So I think that our junior, who you know, I'm always saying it's Joseph Patrick, who's supposedly not around, but whatever, could be definitely Jen Psaki, whatever. Am I still got more? Oh my gosh, you guys, this is too long. He said determinative. That's 144. That equals Lord Almighty. So you gotta admit there's a theme, right? There's a theme. Um, the time has come, 144. How about this one? Joe Biden, I can't even say it, BEAST. I don't know if that's true. It just is something that matched, okay? I don't know. Economic reset is 144. Clear wake up call, like this is a clear wake up call. Clear wake up call is 144. I will say on Durham, meaning John Durham, Bill O'Reilly was asking him about John Durham. That's 204. It equals Feast of Trumpets, Doge, D-O-G-E, barking at the moon, which is funny. Cryptocurrency, that's 204. This is the truth, 204. My blood is I can't say the word again, VAXXINE. Hopefully that works. So my blood is what I spelled. The event horizon. And then he mentioned Houston Astros a couple times. And that equals 204. And let's see. Oh, that's the same. Oh, I'm sorry. That's all part of it. Here, I left a gap. We're still doing 204, I will say, on Durham. So he didn't mention Houston Astros. I'm sorry, I misread it. So Houston Astros is 204. The event horizon I did. The final countdown is 204. Clear and present danger is 204. And that's about the white hat things that are not real, I'm sure. December 25, I don't know. We know what day that is, but it was in here. Let justice be served is 204. The anointed one comes is 204. And that's it. I'm done. So that's the end of the history tour part 2. I think the second part's a lot longer than the first. So I hope everybody's doing well, and take care of each other. That's super important. Eat good, get sleep, and don't worry. Okay? This is your almost mom speaking. Love you guys. Bye.